Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another episode of Andrew-Unfiltered. Kind of want to cover, the pink elephant in the room. It's going to be suicide. Uh, for me, to be honest and open, I've at least tried to commit suicide 4 times. Suicide has been an intricate part of my military career, uh, starting from being an NCO to a staff NCO. Those non Marines from E4 to E5 being the NCO, and E6 to E7 being the staff NCO. We're always taught how to identify Marines, sailors, at that anybody. You're given the tools to identify when a person is struggling. They give us these long. They gave me these long classes of suicide awareness, what to do in case of suicide. But at the time, I was like, okay, whatever. I think at an early age, when I was a corporal, I thought if somebody was going to commit suicide, just let them. They want to take the easy way out of life, just let them. I had no remorse for people who wanted to commit suicide, and that's I think that's the logic I led until I think one day. I think when I was in Camp Fuji, Japan, and I was on duty. I was taking my nap. I think it was probably about 2, 3 in the morning. I was passed out on a couch or something, waiting for a shift change. I got woken up because I think I was the duty NCO. I remember trying to understand what this guy was trying to tell me. Finally got around to it, and on in the third deck bathroom, this young lance corporal had a bed sheet tied around his neck and was hanging out the window. I mean, it caused a spectacle. You had Marines saying, "Jump, jump, get it over with. You have nothing to live for." The whole situation was out of control. And I tried talking to the young Marine, trying to get him what he wants. It tried to use the tools that were taught. At the time, I was a corporal. I was in probably about 9 years, and it's pretty seasoned, just due to MOS closures. And I was trying to talk to him, and this major came in, told everybody to get out, including me, because I was a duty NCO. I don't know if he was trying to be the savior of it all, but the lance corporal told him to get out too, or he jumps. Bring Corporal Dunn back in. I wanted to talk to him. He couldn't understand what he was talking about. He thought it was a major, controlling the whole situation. But that was my first stint with, suicide from the other side, and I honestly didn't know, what to expect. I was like, this ain't ever happening to me. It's never gonna be one of those things where it's gonna happen to me. Fast forward a couple of years. Let's actually fast forward a couple. Let's actually go back a few years when my brother passed. I didn't want to commit. Well, I wanted to commit suicide. I tried to commit suicide by drinking myself to death. Losing somebody that you've known since, again, he's my brother, a friend since I've known since kindergarten. I was probably about 24, 25, 26. And I just wanted to drink myself to death. I was old enough to purchase alcohol, but I didn't know my limits. I bought as much liquor, alcohol as I could. And, my family just sat there and watched me. I'd drink myself silly. I'd vomit, get rid of some of the alcohol in my system, just kick it right back up. Nobody in my family stopped me from doing that because they just saw that I was in pain. And eventually, I'm not going to say it didn't work. I didn't know if I was a coward or not. I wised up, hung around some friends. They understood my pain. And I just wanted to end it there. I was so young. I didn't know what to do in life. It's been very difficult to make friends because I'm always looking for somebody who I can trust, somebody who I can bullshit with. I've always been looking out for somebody I could just call a friend, but it's been very difficult because the stigmata in my mind was, why do I need to make friends? Why would I make friends with so and so? All they're gonna do is end up dying or committing suicide themselves. And I don't need this. Well, I'm going to tell y'all this straightforward. Have a support group. Have friends. Don't think that you don't need them. I needed them. I didn't know what to do. I grew up in the Marine Corps not having friends, but only having people I worked with. And it kind of put me in a position where I always thought my life was going to go nowhere. So I started drinking more. Fast forward again to where I was talking about previously. I finally transferred to California. Met a lot of good people. When I was a corporal, got promoted to sergeant. No, I was still a corporal. I had this staff sergeant who thought I was his secretary, the staff sergeant's been in 6 years, thought he was a staff, and thought he was all that in a bag of chips. All he did was go out and drink all day and go to bed during working hours. And he thought I was his secretary. And I was like, look, dude, I'm not no 2-3 year corporal. I happen to be in a little over 9 years. I was salty as hell towards everybody. I was like, why am I not getting promoted? You got a staff sergeant over here who's been in 6 years. Again, depression, all this bad stuff. The Marine Corps has put you through for nothing. So I met this gunny, Mac. It's about you, Mac, who took me under his wing, became a father figure to me, helped me out. Then I think it was Mother's Day. We just decided to go drink somewhere, and I met my ex-wife, who turned out to be Satan in disguise, who at every potential opportunity was trying to destroy my life. And every opportunity I read in California, divorce was the last option that the judge would give somebody. She was straight psycho and just put me in this bigger depressing state of, I don't know why my life path keeps taking me towards situations like this. And I tried to commit suicide then. I tried to drink myself to death again. I didn't own a weapon at the time. I just tried, alcohol was the answer for me. I would drink 18, 24, a case a day just because I thought it was nice, thought it was good. I thought it was, this is going to be me. I drink tequila. I don't like tequila anymore. I thought that was the opportunity for me to get out of this mess that I put myself into. It didn't work. Again, I don't know why, but I can't drink myself to death. So fast forwarding, I get orders to go to Iraq. Finally filed divorce. That got denied, and I was suicidal over there. I'm not talking about trying to kill myself with my own weapon, but more or less having somebody tried to kill me. There were opportunities where I would fly alone to different fobs and deliver items to different border military teams, and I would just walk around like I had no purpose in life. I remember one instance, I just got off the Black Hawk. I think I had a 50 cal on me, tag teamed up with the team I had to get it through. I was like, I'm going to go eat. Then I remember the hairs on my back of my neck sticking up. I hear gunshot fire on the helo pad. I just decided, you know what? My life's shit. I'm going to take my time. Then the next thing I know, the hair stuck up even worse. And I looked around, and there was this gigantic hole in a concrete barrier that probably missed my head by feet. And it made me depressed that, you know, I couldn't even kill myself by sniper fire. Life, you know, if it wasn't for Chief Warrant Officer Carter while we were over there, I think I would have tried some other things. But as I went through in life, people became available to me that became mentors, that told me life doesn't have to be the way that you want it. And it kind of resonated with me. Just due to the fact that, you know, I saw friends over there get killed. I saw blood, guts, just the crap that I was involved with. Nobody should ever have to. Nobody should have to look at, because it was a sight unseen. So I finally do my time. I get back to North Carolina, meet up with some good friends who were there to comfort me. Tell you some stories about when we got there, but I won't. You know, I've had good leaders. I from 2007 up to about 2010 had the best leaders in that I've had in the Marine Corps. Fast forward to, you know, retirement. I've been retired for 4 years. Retired in 2016. About 2019. Well, let's just say after retirement, depression and my mental health took a decline, because I was so used to the stress, so used to the yelling, that it took the mind away from my own mental illness. So I always had that to comfort me, and alcohol and liquor, but I had back issues, back surgeries, knee issues, shoulder surgeries. I had all of this just bundling up, just churning up in my life, and getting ready to explode. But the Marine Corps somehow allowed me to keep it at bay. Then when I retired, I didn't have that stress to help me out, and my mental health took a bigger dive, and I just started thinking, being more depressed. Then I started communicating with, you know, leaders, that I've met on when I was in the Marine Corps, friends on the outside, peers in the Marine Corps that I met on the inside, and all of them were just committing suicide left and right. And it was taking an even bigger toll on my psyche. I remember talking to my psychiatrist about, you know, is this the path veterans are taking? Is this the path that I'm supposed to take? Is suicide supposed to be in our cards? You know, the military consumes you, gets every ounce of energy out of you, then just spits you out. You know, when I say the military, I mean the people. The Marine Corps had nothing to do with it. It was the shitty leaders that we had. They didn't identify jack shit. They were just looking for their star, their bird, their 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 Eagle Globe and Anchor for Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, or their star, or their diamond, or their next chevron. They gave two shits about you. As long as they were doing good, as long as they looked good on paper, nobody gave two shits about me. There were times where I would cry out for assistance because my mental health. Oh, you're just overworked. Go home. They teach you this stuff, but they don't abide by it. But anyways, fast forward. About 2018, 2019, I was talking to my psychiatrist about suicide. Is suicide the path that us veterans must take? Is this already written in fate? Has fate already said, you're so far gone that you must commit suicide? And when I talked to her about that, she just kind of looked at me like I was on an interesting thesis of some sort. And I told her, all these 10 people that I've had some type of interaction with in the Marine Corps just over the past few months, and it was pre-COVID, I think, or barely starting COVID, I can't remember. All these people started committing suicide. And they were all ranging from colonel to lance corporal to civilians. And I thought that was my path as well. I remember one day, I think I just finished a meeting at work. It was probably about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know what was wrong with me that day, but I was in a slump. All I remember is I had my gun in my hand. Rounds were chambered, weapon was on fire. And then my 6-year-old comes walking in the door, and she says, "Poppy, how's it going?" I snapped out of it, and I looked down, and I was like, well, fuck, where did this come from? And to that day, I honestly believe that she is, she's an angel that saved me from actually following through with, shooting myself. So I kind of hold a high regards for my daughter. I don't know if something woke her up, but she was never awake up that early in the morning. But I think she saved me. It was a difficult moment for me to realize, because I never pulled my weapon out at home. I never showed my kids my weapon. I don't know what was going through my mind, but I don't remember reaching into my case and pulling it out. And I think, when I'm going back talking to my psychiatrist, I think it's ingrained into our psyche that death is all around us, and sometimes the mind tries to put you at ease, but it does in harmful ways. I know while working on the civilian side, I had a team member commit suicide, and it hit home because I talked to him the day prior and everything was kosher. Then the very next day, he wasn't amongst us. So that kind of resonates home now that, I've identified suicide numerous times. You almost can smell it now. And I knew he was going through some stuff, but I reverted back to my old ways. Like, okay, he's not gonna do it, and I think maybe if I just, picked up the phone a little more and called the people a little bit more, I think they would all be alive. But suicide is out there. Suicide is an everyday part of our lives, if believe it or not. That suicide can creep up on me, creep up on you. I've definitely known it to creep up numerous times in my life, and I'm opening up about it, and I've never been ashamed to say I am not perfect by no means. Suicide is that ugly baby that nobody wants to talk about. I was holding back and not talking about this because it's very emotional for me. But I believe it's a topic that must be spoken out more often than not. You know, the company I work for, we barely talk about suicide maybe once a year. I honestly believe it needs to be done more than that. Because nobody, people talk about, well, why don't, after I came open about committing suicide, all these people flooded me. You should have called me. You should call. I shouldn't have called anybody. We should be doing buddy checks. It's always the person that's in trouble needs to reach out to somebody else. It should never be that way. If you call yourself a senior leader or senior Marine in the Marine Corps, retired, active of whatever, you should reach out to people, regardless of who you think is going to pick up that other line of the phone. I had a Marine of mine right before I retired said he was thinking about me and he called me. I was like, well, damn, man, I appreciate that because that actually warms up my cockles. I'm glad that you reached out to me. And it made me think, is like, have I been doing this? So I've been doing this constantly now. I've been reaching out to people, checking up on them, saying, hey, how you feeling? My phone is always open to you. And I think that's a step that everybody needs to take, regardless if it's the smallest step. It could be PFC Schmuckatelli, who was the biggest shitbag in the Marine Corps. I would reach out to him because he might need you to listen. I do it today. There's a lot of people that I could not stand in the Marine Corps. I reach out to them to this day and say, hey, buddy, what's going on? They're like, well, I'm down in my slumps. I can't find a job. I was like, look, man, I've got access to jobs. Let me see what I can do for you. And just listening and saying, hey, I've got an opportunity. I don't know if it's going to, you just got to put yourself in that position, could brighten their day. There was a time before COVID when we were working, I would walk down to the cafeteria and there was a retired captain who would always ask the lunch ladies, how you doing? How you doing? And I guess somebody that he worked with, he's like, why you always do that? And he stated, because you don't know what that person's going through right now. Just the slightest hello, how are you, good morning, probably could save their life. Because that's all somebody's looking for is just to say, hey, how you been? Do you have time to talk? What's going on? Suicide is no joke. The last thing I want to do is commit suicide willingly or non-willingly and leave a burden on my family. So again, I would love, for everybody to at least pick up the phone and call somebody after this. Just call the somebody you haven't talked to in years. But with that, I hope you enjoyed my stories, my journey with suicide, my journey through mental illness, and we'll talk again next episode. Thanks.